Yeah, it actually worked.
Yes, yeah, that's what I always do. That's good. That's great.
Can you hear me?
I can't. Well,
Oh, okay.
were you talking?
Yes. Yeah, I was like, I can't. Yeah, so now it's fine. I can. It took a while for my mic and like I had to turn on the mic and the camera. Like after, I don't know why. I don't know. So.
Whatever.
Done. Good. No, it's great. Okay, yeah, it did work. I don't know, like I didn't think about it, but it did come up after, like totally. But that was a weird error. Like I've never seen that error.
No, I have not either. I just know as part of when I always do it at the end of the day because I'm scared of not being able to work for the day. So I do it toward the end and then I restart because then you have to get into everything again with that new password because I just want to make sure everything works. But
yeah, no, that's a good. Well, I know it's the first screen. Everybody says just restart your computer, but somehow I thought I'm immune to that.
Okay. All right. So which do you want to start with? Maybe the accounts payable.
Oh, yeah, I'll do the recording. Yeah.
I'm going to share the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I opened all the attachments you sent.
Okay. So this particular workflow was developed because from an audit perspective, when a service has been completed, nobody ever knows if it's truly been done. So they wanted a way that if a certain material group was used, that it would trigger an email to the requisitioner saying, okay, you asked for your boss's room to get painted. Did it get done? Or are you still waiting for the painter? Or do you need some rework done? Kind of thing. So if we get the invoice, as soon as accounts payable enters the invoice, it triggers an email to the requisitioner on the purchase order.
Okay, so there's a purchase order that was approved, obviously, right, and issued. So you're saying that once they completed the purchase order, it's kind of additional check, was it actually completed, or invoice was just sent without this being completed?
No, so regardless if you know if so the purchase orders processes just hasn't really been changed, nothing to that effect. It's just it all triggers on the accounts payable when they enter their invoice, and if they've used anything in this material group range, and there's a fair bit,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it will trigger an email to the requisitioner saying, can you confirm the service got done? So they have three options: confirm, hold, or reject.
But it's only for service type of requisitions,
yes.
Not for everything, right?
No, just for service. And so we did not determine that, like sustainment. Part of it's to do with the MIS groupings. So it was determined between finance and supply chain. Yeah. And there's been some removed and some have been taken away. So, but the list that's on the intranet is the most current list. Yeah, because people will say, well, why are supplies or burn garments aren't a service? But that's not for us to determine. It was determined outside of us. And we just have to create something to make it work.
So it's just basically additional check for them to confirm before paying the invoice.
Well, yes, because on an invoice, you need a three-way match. The invoice has to match that purchase order quantity and the purchase order price. And then there has to be a goods receipt. So when the requisitioner receives this email saying, did you get this service? and if they hit confirm, it creates an automatic goods receipt.
Okay, so that's what they're saying. So that's, yeah, so it's basically service goods receipts when there's no really goods, but more of the service was done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you don't, in that requisitioner role, typically they are not allowed to do a receiver because that's kind of a conflict of interest. But as long, if it gets triggered by this workflow, they can, if they hit confirm, it will automatically do a goods receipt.
Okay.
Yeah, automatically. So inherently with everything, there's also some things that go wrong with this. So sometimes on a bigger site, let's say HSE, it could be one of these supply things where the food and water service or some generic supplies that fall under this category, and they'll receive it. Like the actual receiver will receive these goods. What happens though, as soon as accounts payable enters that invoice, it doesn't recognize that goods receipt, and it will keep asking the requisitioner, did you get this? Did you get this? Can you confirm this? And so we literally have to go in and delete the workflow. They have to log a ticket, and we go in and we delete the workflow so it stops the emails, because the emails will go to them for 60 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that was a business decision again. Yeah. We've made a lot of changes to this since inception, and it's a very, I always hesitate to make changes to it because it's very finicky. It may seem very direct and forward.
Yeah, no, I remember how, yeah. So how do you delete the workflow? Like
I can show you that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that will be part of like what many tickets would be, right?
Yes, some of the tickets will say, getting all these emails, how do you stop the workflow? But again, there's another segue to that. So yes, the goods receipt could have been done. But what I find in some cases is that the purchase order is made out for one painting of the room. All of a sudden we get the invoice and it says, oh, we painted 2 rooms, so you're going to charge 2. The quantity should be 2 times whatever. So then in SAP you cannot receive more than what's set out in the purchase order quantity, and the goods receipt will fail when the confirmer tries to do it. Does that make sense? So if the invoice is set up for more than the quantity on the purchase order, and the service confirmer tries to confirm what's been done, in the background it will fail. The GR will fail.
I understand, yeah. And here there's no, like, based on this list, like, it doesn't say which ones have to be goods receipt and which ones are triggered in emails, right?
So there are pardon the language, crap ton of material groups. These ones specifically are the only ones that will trigger that accounts payable service workflow.
Oh, okay. So when you're talking about those ones, this is like the first sections of it, right?
Yeah. Like, and the sundry, there's equipment expense, contracted services, whatever's on this list is applicable to the service workflow.
Okay. So because there were materials out there.
Yes, I know, and that's it. Finance and supply chain, based on MIS coding from the finance perspective and what supply chain wanted. That's the way this cookie crumbled.
Right, but can we not add a column to say which ones, or they still trigger, as you said?
They will trigger. Yeah. Anything in this range could be a singular material group, or it could be within a range.
Oh. Right, no, I understand that, but I don't understand why supplies are there. Are they not doing the goods receipt? Like how then are you deleting each goods receipt for supplies if they're receiving them?
I'm not deleting any goods receipt.
No, I understand, but I mean, like, if it keeps sending the email,
we'll have to delete the workflow. Yes, if they send in a ticket.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So good material groups are related to general ledger account codes. Mm-hmm. There is not a one-to-one relationship. So initially in SAP, a general ledger code is set up. Sometimes it's strictly for finance, just for finance. The only time we set up a related material group code is if purchasing is going to be buying something from that code. So you'll have, say, 10,000 general ledger accounts, and we may only have 8,000 material group accounts. Out of those 8,000, we can have only 4,000 that fall within this range.
Right.
Yeah.
So it can be a mess.
Oh, big time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I always have my list handy. Okay, so one, is it triggered by the workflow? Second, I look at, okay, is the invoice more than the purchase order quantity? So then if it isn't, I don't touch the workflow because it really should be working.
Yes.
Yeah, and so then I send an email to the accounts payable clerk, the requisitioner, and the buyer telling them what to do.
Which they're supposed to know anyway.
They should, but if they've logged a ticket, I have to be able to resolve the ticket.
Totally, yes.
Yeah,
So they,
yeah,
at least they
yeah.
can figure out between all of them who is.
Yeah, so to the requisitioner, I'm saying we can't receive more than what the purchase order has been created for. To the buyer, I'm saying, okay, you need to work with the requisitioner to say, well, actually, did 2 rooms get painted or just did 1? Because then they need to, then the requisitioner will have to change the requisition. It have to be reapproved by the cost center manager. It gets converted. The purchase order gets updated. And after it's changed and it triggers within 24 hours, the person can go in and actually approve. But the purchase order has to be updated first.
And then, remember how we had issues with but that's goods that we sprayed, so then the amount would be different from.
Yeah, so we're not touching freight with any of this. Freight isn't really not part of this equation. Yeah, then that would have to do, if that was more of a blocked invoice because of the freight, then that would be resolved between the buyer and the supplier.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what else is there with this? So when we look at a purchase order, there's a couple of things that it has to happen. Because we need a goods receipt, the account assignment on a purchase order has to be a Y. So I'll just bring up the purchase order. It cannot be a Z. So Z means a drop ship. So I'm just using this one per se. I'll use maybe a non-PO one. Grab one. Okay. Let me see if this is, where's my list? 5406. 606. Okay, so this wouldn't fall in the material group range, but that's fine. Anyway, so this one has a Z on it. So that means a drop ship, which means if they use a Z in the account assignment category here, and it has a material group that triggers the workflow, it will not work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
what do you do?
Just 1 second here. My phone was silent because it's freaking me. So nothing. So when there's a Z and an invoice, it's a two-way match. As long as the invoice matches the PO, it's going to get paid.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really does nothing. I'm just telling you why it won't work. Because somebody will say, well, I put in the right code, the material sort, I put in the right material group, not realizing they put a Z in, why isn't it triggering to the requisitioner?
Oh, so they would say it doesn't work because they're not triggering.
And not realize about the Z.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one thing. That's quite important. And the second thing, which is I find a lot, this one has no requisitioner name. Fantastic. Okay, so that's another reason it doesn't have a requisitioner name. And the other thing is, if they put in JEG Grandmont, they'll never find that requisitioner. Or if they put it in lower cap, they'll never find the requisitioner. It has to be
like a drop down or anything, right? Like they actually have to tag it.
Yeah, they have to type in the SAP username. So it'd have to be JG, like J Grandmont. like for it to
And
work.
3, 5, 10, or 15, depending on
Whatever, if there is one.
Yeah.
If there is one. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just gonna see. So that's why it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun or not. Let me see.
And it's also by line item too, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. So you had previously just one, so now you have two.
Yeah.
So, and the material, not the material, the account might be different. Maybe one says that, but why another one?
Yeah. So this one is one that triggers.
Right.
Yeah. The second one is not.
Okay, so you look at the material groups from that list that you were showing me.
Yes.
And that this whole list that you were showing is what triggers the service workflow.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not all the material groups. It's just those that trigger workflow.
Right.
Okay.
This one right, just keep moving down. So this person, so this, like you said, like it could have a 3 beside their name. You'll notice that it's in all caps, it's their SAP username, and it does have a number behind it. Or, like that, it's Haley Stevenson, or Stevenson 3. So she logged a ticket this week, and her ticket said that, now if you look in the lower half of the screen, under the purchase order history tab, none of these have been done, and I can tell you how I know that. In the reference column, this is all been done by a receiver. I'll just click into one of them, and it shows me that Ravi has done this.
Done what?
So that's what I'm going to tell you. Yeah. So she logged a ticket saying, I'm still getting these emails because SAP does not realize when a receiver goes in and receives against this. So I'll show you the email she was getting until I went in and deleted it. So I'm sorry, just so you know, on a purchase order history tab, it will be on the purchase order if there's been a receipt, goods receipt, or an invoice receipt. If that tab is not there, that means nothing has touched this purchase order. It doesn't exist unless there's a goods receipt or an invoice receipt.
You're talking about the purchase order history tab? Not
yeah.
Here at all?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Not if nothing has touched this purchase order. Yeah. So I'm going to go into one of the invoices she sent me. And so what you do is you click into the invoice, you go up to the services per object, and you hit workflow overview. Okay. You'll notice it says deleted. I deleted it. Because see all the emails she was getting? Yeah, so from June 22nd to the 13th, I deleted it.
So why was she getting those emails?
Because the accounts payable service workflow does not recognize when a manual receipt has been done. So when a receiver receives it, the accounts payable service workflow doesn't recognize it and can't see it.
So because how would they not need to receive it? Like what would be needed to be done to make this work properly?
Well, a receiver not to receive it for one thing.
But if receiver confirms it was done, because it's a service workflow, they cannot receive it?
So yes, they can. So they can receive anything.
Right.
But it doesn't prompt them not to do it. It says, oh, well, this stuff came over our docks on plant 1300. We're going to receive it. SAP, at the time of goods receipt, for a receiver doing their job, doesn't say, well, oh, you shouldn't be doing this because it works through the accounts payable service workflow. It doesn't recognize that at all.
But it can be many items like that.
Yes.
Okay. So then for each one you have to. So what if you would not delete that workflow? She would continue
for 60 days.
For 60 days, she would be getting the emails, and then they would stop.
Mm-hmm.
And will this vendor get paid after 60 days, or what?
It'll get paid. Yeah. No, before that, because it's got the three-way match. As long as the purchase order matches the quantity and the price, so the line is 110,000 and 25. We're only at 24,000, and your invoice receipt is 24,000. It should have no problem. It should not be blocked at all. This invoice. No, it's free for payment. It probably has been paid already, and it has on July 16th.
Okay, so the only inconvenience, I guess, right, is for them to receive in this email for 60 days.
In their SAP inbox.
Okay.
That's SO01.
So it's not like, it's not stopping the payment, which
No.
is my, okay.
No, it's not, which is a good thing, right? Yeah. Yeah, and how I know that this has not been received by the workflow, in the reference column here, it'll say AP _workflow.
Oh, okay.
So then I know that, say, Haley got her invoice or email from accounts payable saying, can you confirm the service? She hit yes. It does an automatic goods receipt.
But he got to it first, actually,
Yes.
right?
Yes. True enough. Yeah.
Okay. So for the documentation purposes of this AP service workflow, right? So we have AP service workflow, and we have, what's the second name? Like a regular, or what?
Yeah, purchase requisition approval workflow.
Okay, purchase requisition approval workflow is the one that has a different material group numbers, right?
No, okay, sorry. No, I understand where you're going with it. There's no workflow for the rest of the stuff that's not on this form. That's if there's a material group not on this form, there's no process. It follows a normal SAP standard process where the goods come across the docks, the receiver receives it, EP enters the invoice, if the price and the quantity match, it will be paid.
Okay, so the way I understand it, is only material group ranges, like what you have here, trigger the AP workflow.
Mm-hmm.
All other ranges, which can be not on this list, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, and there are many, which, right?
Yeah.
They just go through the normal purchase, like workflow, the acquisitioner, then there is approver, then there's a goods receipt and invoice paid.
Yeah, no workflow really involved other than the approval part of the initial requisition. Like, yeah, it doesn't follow any of that.
Okay, so we have the regular purchase requisition workflow, whereas only you said the requisition approval is really just following the workflow. The rest is done triggered by the goods receipt, right?
Mm-hmm.
That triggers if it is three-way match, right?
Yeah.
There is an invoice, there is a goods receipt, and what's the third one?
The invoice matches the PO quantity and price.
Great. Okay, so purchase requisition invoice and the goods receipt, three-way matching, that's paid.
Yeah,
Then
with a
we have
Y,
this-
with a Y account assignment, with a Y. The
Okay,
account
so
assignment
do you have the
is-
list of those account assignments?
Yeah, right. If you're on a
Okay.
purchase order, ME23N, it'll tell you Y is a non-stock material, needs a goods receipt. A Z is a drop ship. You do not need a goods receipt, and it's a two-way match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
For our purposes, that's the only two that we will be talking about. With Monica, you'll be talking about other things, but with me, you'll just be talking about the Y and the Z.
so account payable only can interested about why is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All accounts payable won't know. They're just entering invoices. They have no idea if it's triggering the AP service workflow or not.
Right.
Yeah.
And then through Laserfish, those are all non-PO invoices.
There's PO based as well. They're doing both.
Right. So it basically, in a SAP side, it does the same thing,
Yes.
right? Like for the
Yeah.
PO-based invoices.
Yeah. Let's see what our process in here. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'll bring it over here. So this is, you can always reference the invoice if it's going to come through Laserfish. On this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you want to look at it, sometimes you don't, but it's there. Yeah, so it'll work the same. If a manual entry from an accounts payable staff or the Laserfish.
But the non-PO invoices, so that's the third workflow per se, right?
Again, most of the stuff you're not going to talk about are based, well, unless it's different, totally different ballgame we're talking about, but for right now, all the stuff we'll be talking about is purchase rec and purchase order, really not a lot of non-PO, unless you're talking
but I
about...
mean from the kind of like the content perspective, right? Like what's, like, so when we're talking about the so there's 3 different types, right? Oh no, there's like also special SPFs ordering as well, which has a totally different.
So is capital.
And so is capital. Okay, so there's multiple ways, right? Like how the system handles different things.
Yeah, but the goods receipt and invoice receipt are all the same for everything except for the accounts payable service workflow. If it's got one of those material groups, that's how it will trigger.
Okay.
The rest of them are exempt from that. Yeah.
Yeah, but for non-PO, don't they have to still approve the invoice?
So I think they get it outside of SAP. Either it comes to them if it's already signed. Yeah. I'm assuming that. I'd have to look into that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's something that you don't deal with.
Well, I do for Procura, lots of other different things, but like Procura are non-PO based invoices. Yeah, just depends what kind it is, but typically most of the columns are with PO based invoices.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So AP service workflow. Okay, so when the business comes to us and says, well, actually, I'm going to take one step back. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, I'll talk about that. Not right now, though. Back to that PO. You were asking me how we delete it. We didn't go back to that. Sorry, just a little carried away there. So here's the invoice. So again, you'll go to the purchase order they indicate. They have to give you the purchase order and the invoice number. If they don't, I ask them, I need either a screenshot or because sometimes a purchase order has 100 lines on it. I'm not about to go looking through each line. Like, I don't need to do that. I mean, it's not something that requires my effort. They have that information at their fingertips. So if they told me that this is the purchase order number and this is the invoice number, you double click into the invoice, you go to the workflow overview, you click on this, which is it's display workflow log. You go, I know it's kind of going down, you list with the technical details. Then we go to work item. Go to again, technical work item display.
Oh, that is not intuitive at all.
I know. And then you'll hit edit. And excuse me. It's grayed out because I've already deleted it, but then I would click on change. Then I would hit logically delete and save my change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. So it's a few steps to do it. For sure.
So when you say an invoice, like, it's not per line item you delete, like, if you need to, or it's per line item.
So, okay, so we'll go back to the invoice. So then, just to finish off the other train of thought, I always make sure this says deleted, and I scroll down here and make sure this says deleted. So then,
okay.
Yeah. If you see that there's only one line item on here, then it'll stop that line item. But if, say, there was 10 on this invoice, and you hit logically, like you go and delete that workflow, it will impact all 10 items.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it will impact all the items on the PO and as a result on the invoice.
Well, it'll impact anything that's on the invoice.
Okay.
Not so much the PO, but if, like I said, this only had one line, but if it had multiple, like, I don't know if any of them do, but I can look at it. Yeah, most of these are just one item, but if it had multiple, then it would, you don't have to do it for each line item, you have to do it for each invoice. So, yeah, so if this invoice down here she asked, then I'd have to go on and do the same thing. So not per line item, it's per invoice.
Okay.
Okay. In SAP, sometimes the business will say, we want to remove the burn garments. There's been a change with MIS coding. We find that this doesn't follow under our service workflow. We want to remove it. Or they might say we have another range to add. Regardless if we remove or add, this is where you would go. It's something that you can just do randomly, not randomly, but you have to get a ticket for it, and you have to have. But it's called the ZFI item category. So here's where I can add or take away material groups. So some of them will say, if people say, oh, why did my workflow work? Well, because they used a material one. This only works on service types, not materials. So this will mimic that form, that list on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Oh, for Christ's sake. Whatever, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I can take away or add or subtract.
But will it like just for this workflow, not for everything?
So yeah, it just impacts the accounts payable workflow. That's it.
Right, but this is it not considered to be like configuration like item or?
So this one, so I made this non-configurable because we designed it. We thought instead of like if I wanted to put a new entry, I could. If I wanted to change something, I could. You also have to have the access, right? So the business.
No, sorry, I didn't ask that properly. So this is when AP or whatever finance decides to make the changes to the groups. That's where, like ranges and stuff, that's where you make it, right?
Yeah.
Like the MIS changes or whatever. But that doesn't change it just for it changes it for everything going forward.
Yes, anything going forward, nothing back. Yeah.
Nothing back.
And then I would let OCM know so they could republish the list or make some changes to the list so it's updated.
How often does that happen?
A lot of people complain about it. Not often, but this is how I would do it.
Yeah, but complaining about it, it's not about to us, it's like complaining about the weather to God, right? Like,
yeah, I know. My pushback to them is, well, then you need to consult with somebody in finance and supply chain and get their validation that they're willing to do this. Because just when you say so and because you're irritated with it doesn't mean that I can do it and won't do it. So, I mean, obviously, it's more professionally than that, but you get the drift, right?
Yeah.
So,
okay, so basically just few people in sustainment have access to this change, right?
Yeah, well, okay, so in my role for this job, I am the designated what they call a workflow administrator. I have a lot of access and rights for workflow and other things that nobody else does, or very limited few have. And if they had it, they wouldn't even know what to do with it.
Okay.
And so for every workflow we've developed, we have in Soulman, we have the specs. And if I didn't I wasn't not overly on board with this initially, but then I thought this is actually a good way to actually not practice. But if somebody is fortunate to be hired while I'm still here, I can give them. It really has made me gather my knowledge to a point where I can hopefully share what I can. You know, it's not going to be everything, obviously, but it definitely would help them support their job efforts. Yeah. Yeah. So with this workflow, like I said, we've done a lot of changes, and there's been a lot of momentums over it. Yeah. So recently, I did put something in place where this is a brand new report. So it's an AP service workflow. So purchasing and finance really wanted me to develop this, and this is based on FO, and that's not me swearing at you. This is a framework purchase order, and the purchase order numbers are 62. And so if somebody has not confirmed the service, then it will show up in this report. So this report goes to the background in the corner. See what we get from this. I'm going to try and put workflow. Backdated a bit. Oh, okay. I'll have to find out what job that is then.
So are those your favorites, or those like would be under the standard menu?
No, those are all stuff that I've either developed, had a part of, worked with. Like I do part of some security, payroll stuff I'm involved with, inventory management, warehouse. Anything that's here is what I've been involved with.
No, sorry, I didn't ask it properly. So you enter if I go, because I never went to this menu workflow AP,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
The list of the T codes there, you enter them as favorites, or they appear under the menu if I just go without entering them as favorites?
No, they're not going to be there.
Oh, okay. So that's another thing, right? I think it would be probably a good idea to have those.
Yes.
Because we don't have job aids for all of them, right? We only have the user ones, not ours.
Sorry, I'm trying to get to. There's always the transaction code and then the program behind the transaction code. And this doesn't run every day of the week. I give up. Okay, I'll have to find what it is. I'll get my developer. So the person I work with for technical support and his name is Ben Jin. Even though he's been around for a couple of years, there's lots he doesn't know. There's lots of times where Monica and I troubleshoot our own problems. He's still very high on the learning curve. Very.
Who used to be before?
I had Dina.
Yeah.
Nandan. I had Rajan, somebody or other. Well, initially it was Colin Livingston. I've had Jody Batera. I've gone through a lot, put it that way. So, and some people have been, like Bill Glass and Denny Savoy, have been around since inception, right?
Yes,
so,
yeah.
I have not had that luxury, and so you have to be very self-reliant. Because teaching Benjamin something is not for the faint of
But
heart.
that's not your job to teach him. Like it's
Yes,
supposed
but I
to be.
mean, it's somebody you have to pass on knowledge. But when there's some times where he has to dig into something, and I kind of push him a bit, he will. He's good. It's just his knowledge base isn't like it is finance, but I don't know how developed or how much expertise he's got, even though he's a mature man. But he's not a fan of taking supply chain tickets, and I take a lot of supply chain tickets. So,
Well, then he's in the wrong position.
well, he works with it, yes. I've got him to a point where what I say goes. Sorry, but not goes, but he has to kind of follow the direction.
Well, if he supports you, then this is the tickets you get, and then he says to support you.
But a lot of times Monica and I will resolve what he does. So, oh, go ahead. What's that?
And they're like, oh, wait. I don't know if you've heard all this noise.
No, not at all.
Oh, I have noise because there at the door, like we have the bells at the door, so they like hitting the door, ringing the bells, and barking, and I was like, holy. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to look into these two so I can get better so I can talk to you a little bit more about them. The other thing with this, okay, so of the person that, and I'm not saying any disrespectful in front of Ben. It just I consider him still quite new, and he's still learning, and lots of times we walk him through stuff, and then But anyway, it's just been a lot harder
Does
for
he
Monica.
have access to somebody more senior on SAP?
I have no idea, but I mean, he worked with Sherry on the asset management accounting, so I mean, he's willing to dig in and learn. It just takes a little bit longer than you're used to, right? So it's just part of it. And so I've learned this over the years, so we don't get too excited. Anyway, so a person that moves around the most in this organization is a requisitioner, is what we found. So when you have a purchase order and you have somebody's name on it, like this person, this Haley somebody 3, right? Say she leaves the organization. She's gone. She's not a requisitioner anymore.
And it was her requisition that she placed and left.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
So what happens? These emails are still going to her, but she can't respond to them. She has no visibility into saying this happened. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I just opened them.
Okay. If she has to do anything with this or not. So what has to happen is the buyer has to change whoever has taken that position of hers. They have to put her name in as J. Grandmont or whoever the new person is in charge of this requisitioning. They have to replace that name.
So they would have to replace this name on the requisition that was not
on the purchase order.
Or not on the requisition, on the purchase order.
Yeah, because this is where it's triggered from. Because as soon as AP enters that invoice, it's going to go to the whoever's named as the requisitioner on the PO. Okay, so it's just say, so we have a few of these that haven't been addressed by her. If this name is changed, I do have a program in place that is called the APRI workflow agent recalculation, but it takes literally 24 hours. So if they were to change my name right now to J. Grandmont instead of Haley's, it would take till 10:07 tomorrow for it to redo a new workflow. It will trigger a new workflow to go. Not to Haley anymore.
But if it's on a day 59, it would not.
No. But I'm just saying, if it's within that 0 to 60 period, somebody's name changes, there is something in place that will re-trigger an email to the correct new person identified on the purchase order.
And how do you know do they change it or do you have to change it?
I don't have to change it. That's a buyer's responsibility.
Okay.
A ticket may get logged, say I've moved positions, I'm still getting these emails. So then, I'll say, well, then you need to reach out to the buyer to tell him who's in your position or find out who it is, and they need to work with that. The business needs to work on that and change it to get to the appropriate person.
So you do, like on the tickets, like you do a lot of more like tutoring for them and teaching them what to do.
Yes, well, it is for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're always teaching and training, always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people don't know what they don't know. They don't know. They're just getting these emails. They're getting annoyed. They don't want them. They have no visibility into whether stuff's got done or not. So they want their names to be off of it. So, and they don't know how, and they probably were never explained how to do it either. So, yeah. Any questions about that part?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
But the history, like on that history tab, right? It will save if you change the requisitioner.
No,
it will show.
That's a good question. That's good that you mentioned that. So this is where it will show. So you have to highlight the line item 10, go up to the word environment and select document header. So right now there's been no changes since inception, but it would say in here, changing from old value is Haley. I'm changing it to J Grandma
so it would
and
not
the date.
Be here in the history. Okay.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be in this type of history, but not in. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, but how do you change it? Do you just click on this person and retype?
So a buyer has to change it really for audit perspective. So I can change it. I can pretty much do anything in the system. So all I would do is go to this. So you notice how the lines were already blue. They went to kind of white for the things that can change. I can definitely change this name.
Okay.
Okay, so I could change this name. If I change it, it would say old value, new value, and who did it.
Yes, totally. Yeah. In the header portion.
Yeah. Well, not the header. No, it'd be under, this is the header. You can go to environment and look at document header changes, but what we're doing is in the document. It's like there's 3 sections to a purchase order. It's header, item, detail, and items. So this would be an item detail. I just close this one up because I never really need to see the header part. But yeah, I just have to go to environment, document, items. But there's been no changes. So, but that's where it would be. Yeah. So I'm just gonna get off of this because if I had it on this and somebody tried to change a purchase order, they'd say, purchase order is being changed by J Grandmont, and they wouldn't be able to do anything. So you never want to leave this on for too long, just in case. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, and then there's this. Just waiting for this report to load. Okay. So how we talked about the 0 to 60, and then so that means if a workflow is, when we were talking about confirming a workflow, and when you hit confirm, it does an automatic goods receipt. The other 2 options are you can hold it because you know the painter's coming in tomorrow, so we'll just wait to hold this. Yeah. And the other one is reject. If you reject it, that means the workflow stops. You cannot revitalize it. You can't start it again. It's done. So say they rejected it saying he's not been in here to paint. We need to go to a different vendor. So it's rejected. It's stopped. So they still can do a goods receipt on it if they wanted to, but it's actually the workflow's finished.
Okay. What if they don't do anything? Like
they'll just keep getting the emails.
Right, but I mean, if the painter's coming tomorrow, they don't have to say. So if they say hold, do they have to go back after to unhold it, like to approve it? Will it send emails, or it will?
So what it'll do if they go in there the next day, the email still will be waiting for them to do something, and they just have to hit confirm then.
Right. So if they go hold, they still gonna get email the next day.
Yeah.
So there's no point of doing the hold.
Well, it just gives them a button to click. That's what they wanted. Confirm, hold, and reject.
But you know what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. I know what you're saying. I don't have to agree with everything. I have to compromise sometimes. This is what I think you should do, but really, that's what you want to do. Whatever. Anyway.
Okay.
So for the workflows that have expired, that means it's 60 days, it's run out, but the business has no visibility to that. So they wanted to know which ones have been either rejected, returned, expired, or completed. I don't know why they want to know this, but that's what they wanted to know. Not why. There's a reason. Because if it's rejected, they need to know why and figure out what we need to do to fix the invoice or whatever's wrong. Yeah. So we had different run times. You can run it in days. It has all these various statuses that you can run it by. And then if you look at what the output of the report is, it tells you that it's still ready, some is rejected, some are completed, and yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't do anything with that, like
No, this is all automated. It's all in the background. Gathers it up and it sends it to whoever wanted to receive it. Yeah, and then there's messages too, right? So when I was saying that if they spelt your name wrong, or anybody's name wrong, it would send the workflow, but the message in the background says, well, invalid service approver. So that means that instead of saying J. Grandmont, it says J. Smith.
Yeah, but how do they know your username? Like network, do they have to go to Outlook to take, like how?
Sometimes they have to go to Outlook, yeah. Sometimes it'll be on the purchase requisition. Should have their username there. Yeah. And these people have dealt with these people for a long time, but yeah, I mean, they get used to that. One has been, one of the messages says rejected just on line item 30. A couple of them say they were completed, which means there's actually been no response. So those are.
So when it's rejected, what does it mean? That that this service was not done?
Yeah.
And so what happens with if it doesn't impact the payment? And
well, if there's no goods receipt, they'll have to get a manual goods receipt. And if the invoice is blocked for whatever reason, they'll have to determine what's wrong with it and fix it between the vendor and the purchaser.
Right, but we were saying for the AP workflow, this workflow of them approving or whatever the item does not hold the payment, right? Yep. So what if they did they ended up paying the painters, but then somebody goes and says rejected for the slide items, but payment was already done. Then what?
Oh, then they'd have to look into that. Like that would be between the buyers and the vendor again.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do they get a report of saying those items were outside of those items?
Well, the cost center manager would have to talk to the buyer about it, saying, hey, I noticed that this was expense to my cost center. I don't agree with it. It wasn't done properly. It should have never been paid. And then they would have to work that out.
But that assuming that cost center manager is actually looking at.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Marianne, we can only solve what we can solve, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time this works slick. It works well. No complaints. But
I'm sure there's lots of things got paid when they were not.
I don't know.
No?
I don't think so. I mean, cost center managers are actually pretty diligent about looking at their expenses, and yeah, I don't know that things would get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, especially like something big like painting, but I mean like some smaller things.
It could be, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So then with each of these statuses, we kind of had like a bit of a related message, but completed. Rejected ones.
Related message is pre-selected, or this is what people type?
No, they're pre-selected.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're usually in this this part of the end part here of this messaging.
So this workflow status report, whose responsibility to review it?
I'll have to see where it goes to. It's just goes. I believe it goes to most of the buyers. It goes to a generic email. I can find out exactly if you want to know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm just curious. Like, so it's being used, obviously, right?
Yeah. I don't think a lot of invoices get paid and they're not supposed to.
Yeah, AP is pretty diligent about, like, especially getting. But I mean, if they're not in the loop of that service workflow to be either not rejected or completed, right? Because as we saw, it's being paid before this confirmed, so they have no way to control it in a way, right?
Let's see if I can get anything here. I'd have to look. I can look at the items.
So you get both remedy, well, ITSM and eventums on those?
Yes, yeah. So if I look at the event ITM, I have it on all day. I'm always refreshing it. I mean, that's if the business can't do something. There's a payment run that didn't get processed at the bank in a timely manner, or it failed, or whatever the notification is. Yeah, those are the things we look at first, and then we're always working on a handful of eventums, either testing, resolving, investigating, working with the people in Costa Rica, our ABAP team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but you don't get it, like, if it's the same as finance, like the remedy becomes an eventum when it
not all the time. Yeah, so I have a scheduled open task. The filters I have on are for finance, supply chain, master data, and 4 of them anyway. And if you're not on it every 2 minutes, you have to hit renew. Yeah, knowing. But my filters are typically, just supply chain, finance, and master data. Yeah. And typically there's pages of this right now. Sometimes summer can be what it is. I've already solved 4 or 5 tickets before you and I even met. But as for master data, like I change signing authorities, I create cost centers, internal orders, statistical, MIS stuff, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's another adventure. Anyway, yes, so I look at this and then I look at my list of eventums. So right now, the way I have my filter on eventum, if you can look at it, I'm testing one now that Monica and I resolved. I asked Ben to look at it last December and he kind of didn't. And so then I created an eventum for it so I could get more awareness out or visibility to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, he couldn't recreate the error, so I'm working on trying to recreate the error. So this is, so I have a list. And my name is on probably about 6 more, but they're in supply chain queue. I'm not the one that actually reported it, but my name's on it. So, but I just closed one not too long ago. So, yeah. And we're always working on these. So it was a really odd error that Monica and I had not seen. It took us a long time to figure it out, but we did. But now they can't duplicate it, so it's hard to solve if they can't duplicate the issue, or duplicate it, in one of our test systems. So, yeah, it's another little project I'm working on the side. So, yeah. Anyway, so, see that? Yeah. So there's where we always are looking at this, always. Yeah, and then
those are the tasks. Those are not the actual tickets. Sorry, they're tickets, but I mean those are not the service requests. Those are the tasks.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So let me go into one. So yes, it says tasks, but you go into this, you go into the parent,
right?
So then
there might be multiple tasks, right?
There could be. Typically for us, there's not. But I mean, the you don't have to always look at the service request is right here on this side too under parent ID.
Okay.
Yeah. Another one I usually have open is incident, because sometimes things are qualified as an incident even though it's not stopping them from doing business, so I'll convert it to a service rec. But if it truly is an incident and they can't do things, you leave it at that and you resolve it as is.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is on all the time. And then because I do the release notices and whatnot, I have this on all the time because it shows me what's going to production tomorrow before I send out my notice. So
Right.
yeah. And sometimes people copy me on tickets. So if they copy me, typically I'll get the service request number. So I just input it in here, and then I can take it out. I don't have to wait till it gets assigned to me.
Right.
Yeah, because that sometimes takes a long time, and they're just swamped. So we try to grab what tickets we can that we know are ours. Or if I know a person's name, I'll just put their name and,
And you just assign to yourself, basically.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and you click on. See, the thing is why we typically call them tasks is because you have to go to the. Well, I just go to the parent, I guess. You have to accept it, right? So here you accept it under the task, and then when we're done, we hit complete. But in that complete, you kind of need to say what you've done, that you've notified the contact or the customer, again, how you resolved it.
Okay.
But yeah, this is open all day long. I've never seen it this, with, like usually it's pages, so anyway. And these people are just working on it. And so, yeah, and typically we don't have these open longer than 2 or 3 days, just depends. Like sometimes people put in tickets and they go on holidays. So if they do that, I tend to go into the parent, and then I put, you can change the status to pending, and I'll put customer hold, because right now we're being timed on this because it's active. And so I don't feel like I should be timed on it when it's not my thing that this person went on holidays. So I just, that stops the clock, right? Or if you send an email to the person
like for the, yes, you don't want to be have your agent report based on that.
Yeah,
and
right.
Somebody's not responding. Yeah. I
did
did
not
put that on in
or anything, but yeah, and then sometimes you send an email to people, like via here, and you wait for a day or two. So again, I'll change the status. Client action required, because really that truly is the status of the ticket. So. Yeah. And then events, sometimes, like, for some reason, Ninja is not great about changing this or updating it. You constantly have to update it, you have to change the status, you have to add things to it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, my name's on, anything that my name's on or related to, I make sure all the details are attended to. Yeah, because at the end of the day, they're going to come back to me. And it doesn't really matter to me who's responsible for it, I just want to get it done. Just a little anal that way, but just
no, but that's the routine,
yeah. So okay. So I'm not going to go into purchase requisition approval workflow because that is more than a mouthful, and it's going to take at least an hour. Maybe we could look at, if you're okay with this. So I think we've covered most of the errors about why the accounts payable service workflow won't work, what they're looking for, why a ticket may be logged.
Yeah, so just to kind of like recap of what you were saying, the majority of the tickets is when people are getting a bunch of emails, right? So then you go and you have to delete workflow, which you kind of showed how to do. And then if their positioner is not updated, right? So then
we have that problem solved within like literally 24 hours to the second. It will re-trigger.
The trigger. And then if they do the updates to those material groups, then you would do that kind of like in that other
Yes.
configuration like screen.
Yeah, I sent you the link for that.
Right.
Yeah.
But then how do you troubleshoot if you don't know what it is? Like, so that's my question. So you get some kind of like, do you have example of the ticket that haven't dealt with right now? Or maybe the way we can do that is if you get the ticket and you record it like either on Zoom with me or yourself, just record like what with your annotation, like what you do, kind of like step by step, and then I'll document it, right? Like because like okay, we got the ticket, and as you said, I need the purchase order number and the purchase order and invoice number, right? You know, so it's like okay, one is missing, so I'll email them asking for one. Like if it's so, this is where I go to look at the purchase order, and I'm looking for those things, right? Like you said that the account group should not be Zap, it's not a trigger, or there was something on the right when you scroll, I can't remember what.
Yeah, account assignment, so it cannot be Z. It has to be Y. That's why it won't work. And the other thing is having the actual SAP username. Some people just think, and it has to be in all cap. All cap, SAP username Y.
Right. So kind of like, you know, when you're looking at those, more kind of like, okay, this is the ticket time. Because at the end of the day, there's only certain types and there's a variations of that, right? Like, so.
Yeah, well, and then, if they're trying to receive more than the purchase order is set up for, I mean, so I have emails that I use as templates because frequently that happens. I have probably documentation about how to resolve some of these workflow things that, again, so, I mean, you can, everybody teaches and trains and learns differently. I get that. I'm a person that if I learn something, I make a job, I make my own little job aid or do something with it because it just reinforces it for me. Because especially if I don't deal with it often, I often refer to my own stuff. That just works for me. And I'm not a great person when somebody's teaching me something. I like reading and learning from it as well. So, but I also will listen and learn as well. But my preference is to read it and digest it that way.
Okay. So if you have any documents on that already, like, and the documents meaning like your own kind of like step-by-step things, that would be greatly appreciated if you maybe put it on, share it, or like copy them, right? So then I can well, like, it's not a summary, but more of the standardization of like if this item. Then,
So Sherry, just so you know, on the T drive has put a folder in there. Just get there. And so it's good that you would mention that, and I think it's a good placeholder for things. So it says, this is on like the 7.0 sustainment. Oh, Joy and Monica knowledge transfer.
Okay.
We click in there, so Joy's task, Monica's task. I can just create a folder that says whatever, Joy's notes or whatever.
The training base or whatever.
And so then everything's here and it's housed here. So is that?
That would be amazing, so then I can go and like add to it, right?
I'm just gonna I just put that in the chat there, so
okay.
Perfect. If that helps.
Because like as they come, and we still have a lot of time. I'm on vacation from the 18th to whatever, and then I have another week, sometime end of September. And then basically I will be able to like all the way till March. Like as I said, if you're able to kind of like record yourself like with the either Teams or like screen recording, right? And just maybe save them there, right? And then if they're documented but as you have step by step, but sometimes like do it automatically. You don't really say click here, click there, right? But if I wouldn't actually see you doing it, or we'll record later how you got to this workflow.
To delete it? Yeah, I got notes on that. Yeah.
Okay, because that was like holy, right? Like this, like
I know
7 or 8 steps. Like I would not remember how to do that.
You wouldn't, right? You don't use it, you lose it. So I totally get it. So maybe stuff I can do.
So things like that is, not easy to find or what to look, right? Like obviously, it's it's good that we have a longer time, right? So we can systemize some of the knowledge that you've gained over the last 20 years on the city.
That's the thing, right? I felt so bad for you and just think she's gonna wanna.
No, but I mean, like again, it's not so much like me who like I just want to make sure that we document as much as we can.
Yep,
because it's not going to be my role going forward. Like I'll help out, like in transition, but then I want to make sure that whatever comes next have enough documentation or videos or something that's able to use your knowledge and able to like work on all this stuff. But yeah, it's obviously not going to be everything, and there's going to be some outliers that are going to come. But if we document, if there's 80% of things that will fall into somewhat standard workflows, right, or standard issues, that's already a big win, right?
Yeah, no, totally agree. I'm off next week, so that's why. I mean, I thought we'd start with one and then we'll see. But I know I scheduled another one when you're back from holidays, I think, or whatever. But we might continue down this thread if you don't mind.
Yeah, but if you're able to record and just throw this recording, like the ticket, like what you do, right? Like looking for issue of this type, right?
Yeah. But I can always Teams you and see if you have a moment to look at this with me.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, if you're available. I mean, totally get it, because Duncan does that all the time. Yeah, with us.
And then we can do like small recordings, and then I can save them. Again, like we just did, so I'll document what I can from it. But I mean, from like, I'm just trying to think for the new person, right? Like if there's somebody experienced, perfect, right? Like somebody who will come from the business.
Yes, agree. Yeah, I did give 2 recommendations to Chris. I told them both, and so both are very willing and wanting to apply if the job posting comes up. So to me, that would be half the battle, right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, you know what you know, but I mean, definitely you don't have to train them right from the ground up, because we have so many custom processes, so many things that are unique to our organization. It's mind-boggling, right? And for someone to just even take a bite of that, that's like trying to take a sip of Niagara Falls, like just overwhelming.
Oh yeah, and there's it's the SAP is not the easiest system to learn and to look at, and like I've been on it for a very long time, and and then I was configuring the EPR before, actually doing the configuration there, and it's so much easier, like intuitive, right? Than this. This system was like always uphill battle for us. So anyway,
that's good. I mean, I'm happy, and it's really good. So okay, I will find out a couple of the things that you had questions on, and so I can be a little bit better about proposing that to you. We can capital workflow works different than any other workflow. So the first part of having the capital workflow is that you need to have a specific role in your security authorizations for being able to approve either A1 or A2. A1 or A2 are limitless. Like there's no dollar designation on that. Yeah.
We designed that one, so I remember this one pretty well.
Good. So, I mean, because we have not a lot of time left, I thought, well, let's just maybe kind of switch to that one and we'll go that way. So I do have a kind of a bird's eye view of display about how to see how the A1 approvers are input by business area. So this column variable 2 is by business area, and then on here is their position number, or depending, but yeah. So that's how we know.
So those are A1 or A2?
No, these are all A1. So in variable 3, it says approver A1.
Because
So
A2 is always finance, right? Like it's the same.
So in an internal order, you have the user responsible, and that's where we would designate where that would
Project
be.
manager or like a director, right?
Whoever they did designate as that. Yeah, but then we have that to have, just because you have A1 doesn't mean you can approve A2. And just because you have A2 doesn't mean you can approve A1. Like, those are two very specific rules that they have to be assigned to their security. So if I was to go to Elena.
Oh, so at least this one comes up with the proposal
Yes.
of the names.
Yeah.
They should do that for acquisition.
It does. It's anybody's name. Everybody's name who's on here is in here. But
I
I don't
know,
know who
but
has
it's not
access to
open.
this. Yes, I do get it. Yeah. So when we are always looking at this, sometimes you need to look at this tab called logon.data. If people have not used, I don't know what the protocol is, I don't know if it's 3 to 6 months. If they do not use SAP within that time frame, they are invalidated. They are cut off. And that date will be here. So then people are saying, well, I keep sending emails to Elena, but she's not responding to her being an A1 approver or whatever. And it's because her access to SAP is no longer exists, and it has to be reinstated.
But in her case, it exists, right?
It does. In her case, it does.
Okay.
Yeah,
But otherwise, it will say the date in
yes.
past.
Could say 28/07/2026. So the next thing I would look at is what roles does she have. So the one I'm looking for specifically is toward the bottom here, and it looks like Elena has both A1 and A2.
So sorry, this is about her role assignments.
So this is what she can approve as I'm going to say, I'll use the term kind of cost center manager, but as an internal order manager, this is what she can approve for capital.
Okay, so this is the capital approvers, not the
No, this is just capital.
IOs.
No, for IOs, yeah, capital.
Okay, so the
more
capital, okay,
specifically
okay.
capital, yeah. She's not authorized. So there's all different types of approvers. So when we're talking about capital and A1 and A2, but she doesn't have the standard normal cost center manager authority, because then we'd see release strategy anywhere from 01 to 07. She is not allowed to actually approve a standard requisition. She can only approve a A1 or A2. She does that, not have that in her, but sometimes you'll see that, but it's very specific. Yeah.
Because we did that custom table, right? Like
Yes.
SAP didn't have
For
that.
A1 we did. A1, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And then for A2, that's going to be on, I think it's KSO2, KSO3, KO3. Just going to try one of these. I have to find one that has that on there. I will look at that.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, here. You. So when this was set up, the A2, so the user responsible is this Christian Fielding. So if there was a requisition with this order on it, the A1 would go to the A1, and that has to be approved first, before the A2 can approve. Yeah, A2, A1 has to approve. A2 cannot try to approve first. It will never go to them. A1 has to approve first.
Yeah, because there's no order, but it's always there, right? Like it's all, or it's not always A1 has to approve before A2.
So sometimes there's one or the other on depending on the internal order, but if somebody's listed first, they have to approve it first. Like I'll show you.
Because I thought A1 is always first, and then
it is always first. So here's a capital rec. So here it's Rosina and then Christian. So they always, I think it's, yeah. So it goes to her first. She has to approve, and how you can see that is going to that workflow overview again. Sorry, if I click on.
But if A2 approver is for the whole business area, right? And
it's just so A1 is that one for the whole business area, but A2 is the one that's on that.
Oh, that's the other way around. Okay.
Yep. There's lots of items on this. I just want to go to the first.
Because remember we had such a dealings with at the time trying to pick who's going to be, because there's going to be only one for the whole business area.
Yep. So yes, you're right. You did.
Yeah, I guess like your replacement needs to be somebody from business. Otherwise,
it's going to be hell on earth for them. I get it. So if I'm looking at this workflow overview, I can tell that Rosina on August the 8th, back in 2021, approved this rec. So as the A1 approver. Okay? Then the second part, A2, it went, must have been, at the time, in 2001, must have been this Ken Collinger. He approved it.
Ken Collinger was the manager of the Capitol, right?
Yeah, at that time. Yeah. So I'm just kind of showing you how I can see if somebody said to me, well, I don't think A1 or that my line item 10 got approved. Well, one, like sometimes people don't even try to help themselves, unfortunately. So you have to give them instructions how to go look at this rec, look at this release strategy tab, and they can see 2 check marks. And it says approved. So, like they'll say, it hasn't been approved. Well, it has. And they actually get notification in their SAP inbox when it gets approved.
How do they access the SAP inbox? Is it something like
I'll do that right now. This is my SAP inbox right here. Under
so
this
they're not getting that on the email?
No, on the Outlook, you mean?
Yeah.
They might get the approval. They'll get the initial one. When they create their requisition, it goes to the cost center manager. When the cost center manager approves or rejects, they should probably get one in Outlook, and then they can also look at it in their SAP inbox. If I was on a different system, I could show you mine. But yeah, that's it. SO01. And it's the inbox, and it's the workflow folder.
Okay.
Yeah. Good times. Okay. So that's, like I said, A1, A2. A1 is that.
How is the capital different from SPFs? Like the approving part?
It's not really. Well, it is really. Because SPF, I'm going to get into that, but the SPFs have a dollar range in them.
Oh, yeah, that's another custom table that we did.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we limit somewhat this 7 levels.
Yeah, and because the SPFs have that 0 to, say, 1 release strategy, but they also have a finance coordinator for SPFs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but for this one...
There's also A1 A2 there. Are they not?
No. I'll grab the SPF. Okay, so it's going to go this way. So here's Stevens. Here's one of them. So again, they're under a different, so Capital, their requisition number starts with a 7. Under an SPF, it starts with a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to see if there's
there's a code approval on the 10 grand.
Yeah, okay, so here, get rid of this thing. Annoying.
Okay, but if it would be 14, there would be 7, 6, and 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's where I said it's more on the level of approval. And again, not now, but I could look up this person's name and they have a specific SPF security in their authorization.
Yes.
It's different than the purchase rec, different than the Capital. A lot of people don't get that. And then Amanda Boyson. So we'll go look at David Alexander.
And that custom table that we did, so it's not based, so regular purchase requisition approval based on the position, right?
I also will help. Yeah, that is defined. So here's that David Alexander that was, and here's his. I'll just look at his login. Obviously, he's current, which is good. And then I look down here. So he has to have this release code in there, 7. And then I think it was Amanda was the other person. Wait. Okay. So she has some unique responsibilities in that she can maintain the SPF workflow approval table, and I can show you what that is. Yeah. Just looking for her.
And that's the one that we custom made.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see her being, she must be in there. Okay. Anyway, so there's that. And then for SPF, there's 2. There's a display and there's a change. So if you want to just look at, see who's supposed to be approving, you can do this. I need to get on that requisition here, account assignment. Okay, I just need to get this one. Okay. You can run it by business area, you can run it by internal orders. So here it tells me that the position 7 is this, 5 is here, and it goes up to this, and then she's the finance approver. So it's just the various stages of the positions where it goes to. Yeah, and then with Amanda being at the end here. So with that same one, I'm going to go to one that you can change it, and not very many people have authorization to change it. There's certain ones at certain sites. So now you can tell that these are kind of whited out, or white. If they're blue, obviously you can't change it, but then it has the same kind of information you just saw on the display, but, excuse me, the ability to change.
Yeah, we did give that to them because we didn't want to be responsible.
Right? Yeah, but if somebody says, well, this person is not going to the right person, how do I get this person? We need to give them this kind of access, or this, show them that this can happen, or the display one, right? So
Display one,
yeah. But there's somebody should be at each site that should be able to do this. Don't ask me who it is, but usually Alaska, Sherry, and Monica, they seem to know. But who has that? Yeah. So that's SPFs. We will get tickets for SPF. Sometimes they will trigger. Sometimes, if it's deleted, it doesn't show up well in our. Well, it doesn't work as well as the other ones. It works, but not as great. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway. Any questions about the SPFs?
No, that's good.
Yeah, there is a job date for that change when it needs to happen. Yeah, somebody needs to follow that. So there is a report I run, and I do this as a cleanup activity. It's called SWIA. So I usually run it for a week or two back, but I've got this date set for the 24th of July, and then I execute it. And this shows me people that have not responded or approved their workflows. So even somebody back from April, who I sent with multiple emails, and it's capital, has not approved it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I send a lot of emails. This is manual labor, and this is for the whole organization I have it running for. And sometimes people forget that once they look at a requisition so let's look at one of them here. That they forget they looked at it. So as soon as somebody looks at a requisition, it changes the status to be on hold. So as soon as somebody looks at a requisition, it changes it to be on hold. So this person, it says blocked. It still doesn't have that lovely green check mark that everybody would love to see. So I sent an email, and I've got templated that. And so, like I said, this person did look at it on July 10th. They just looked at it, and it changed the status. And it says it's in process. Okay. So then I send a reminder, because if it's longer than 2 weeks, I say, can you please look at this, review it, and either accept it or reject it. Like, you have one or two options, or tell your requisitioner to delete it. Matters not to me, but it needs to be looked after. So I'll show you an email that I would send to them.
Okay.
Because typically when people are looking for supplies, they want the materials within less than 3 to 5 business days. They don't want to wait months for it. But sometimes if it's capital, so here's, work with me here. So here, I send an email. Jiminy Crickets, over here. So back on July 23rd, I said, so please review this purchase requisition for approval in SAP using the T code. If it's no longer required, let them requisitioner, they can modify or delete. If it's still required, approve it and save the change. So then he says, I'm away on vacation. I've included Ronnie on this email so he can approve. Well, Ronnie will never see it, and Ronnie wasn't even
Yes, he has to do the substitution, right?
Well, if he did, he should be doing the substitution, yes. Well, then that opens up a whole new ballpark, which we're not going to get into at this one.
No.
So, yeah, but you're right. A lot of people that go on, two things. When people go on vacation, they should substitute. But, second, if they do substitute, they need to pick somebody who has equal signing authority or higher. Lots of times they pick somebody who doesn't have anything. Yeah, so totally missed a lot. So anyway, this still remains because he's still on holidays, not sure how long for, but yeah. So when he comes back, hopefully he'll look at that. Because it's in their SAP inbox, but if they don't go into it and look at it, they forget about it. Obviously you looked at it, you forget, I'm just assuming he forgot about it, which I understand everybody gets busy, but you still need it approved.
Because they're the one who want something.
Yeah, they're holding it back because of the purchase. The buyers can't convert it to a purchase order until it's approved.
Without, of course.
Yeah. And if we were looking at this,
So it should be a requester who's bugging them.
well, they should be, and if they're not, it's Joy Grandma. But
Well, but why are they
I
asking
do.
you?
Hmm?
Why are they asking you to?
They're not asking me. They're a job that I've taken on as the workflow administrator to
So
prompt
that's
this.
that. Then you kind of like look at it.
Yeah. It's a cleanup activity. And we all have our cleanup activities. This is my cross to bear. So, yeah, so on this lower half of the screen where there's all these tabs running through it, there is a tab called status. If it had been approved and it says status, there would be a purchase order created here. But there's not because it's not been approved. And so the buyers can't do anything with it. Don't ask me why. So, like, for this has a status. This shows here on this SPF that a purchase order, it was approved. Here's the purchase order, and you can drill right into the purchase order from here.
It's like a red stand for $19.
Yep. So there's been a goods receipt. Right now, currently, there's no invoice against it. So it can't get paid till we get the invoice to match the quantity and the price. But, yeah, I mean, so these are the things that you do. And when there's substitutions, there's just a whole heck of a lot that goes wrong. But our time is at an end. It's 11 o'clock. I'm not going to give you back your day, and I'm sure you're most definitely tired of hearing my voice. So, thank you.
It's good. So it's just a lot of information.
Oh, I feel like I'm throwing up all over you and not thinking of half of it, but I have been going through notes and looking for things, and I have a couple outstanding things. I think we'll just pick up where we leave off and then start on the second one. If you have any more questions, we'll deal with that on our next meeting. Then we'll go over the big one, which is the purchase requisition approval workflow, and then I'll do some follow-ups of some other ones that you had questions, and we'll kind of team that up. But thank you for everything. Thank you for hanging in there. I know it's not easy.
Thanks, Joy.
All right, have a good one. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Session na drugom laptopie.